What's going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets Haver. Hope you're all having a beautiful Wednesday. I did very poorly on DraftKings last night in MLB. In fact, I don't think I cashed, and on FanDuel, I don't think I didn't cash. So it ended up evening out for me, and I'll take it. But yeah, just sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't, and I couldn't quite get the SP2 exactly right on DraftKings.
So baseball on DraftKings, I didn't do very well, and on FanDuel, I did not do very well. So no good for me in baseball, but basketball I did well. We'll talk about that when we get on there.
Nice. The thing with basketball, and we'll get into that when we get over there. Let's pull up your screen. Let's try and go game by game here.
Yes.
See if we can find a way to get different. And by the way, I just a minute overemphasize getting as different as possible on these slates is the most important thing on these short slates.
Yeah, you gotta convince me how to do it because it's gonna take some doing.
Well, I mean, I see things already right off the bat that there are guys who just aren't going to be played that right. Like, and maybe you say for good reasons, but I can,
Well, you're gonna have to tell me how to get off of Cincinnati because it's gonna be hard.
Don't blame you, but I'm just throwing out there that it's great when every other expensive bat won't be owned. So
that's true.
All right, let's jump into it, and we're gonna start off with Boston, Oakland, right? Okay. We are, in my opinion, I don't think you're playing either pitcher in this game. I wouldn't hate, just hear me out. It's a long shot play maybe, but I don't hate Manaea. That's the only thing is maybe by the end I can use him as a way to get a little bit different on a pretty chalky slate.
Yeah, I think that that for me the clearest thing to do here, and I don't think it's mirror shadowing either on today's slate is to play Oakland. Richard's going to get freaking tattooed.
Okay.
And he's going to be and Oakland will be the way I'm looking at the slate is going to be like Cincinnati's going to be really, really chalky, and Colorado will take money. And then the wise guy pivot off him might end up being Houston. So I think that Oakland is going to be, and then Oakland might take the place of that as being like the obvious pivot off of all that. But if not, I mean, I think that's where I'm going to start is Oakland with Olsen, Conha. By the way, we picked on Andrews. He went nuts yesterday, I think.
And every time I say it about a minimum, like this guy literally hasn't put up 10 fantasy points this season, and he goes nuts for his best game right after I say that he can't do anything. It's just so annoying.
Moreland or Laureano. So that's what I think is best.
Yeah, and I think you'll get low ownership. I'm completely on board with it. For whatever reason, I don't know why you seem to have a pretty good feel for Garrett Richards in general.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Look at his strong outings. He's had a few of them this year. He's also been rocked a couple times. He can get really wild, and he can give up a lot of hard contact. So, and he also allows a lot of stolen bases too, by the way. So, I think all of Oakland I can completely get on board with as either if you want to play the other stacks, you can play the Oakland with them, and I think be off the board a little bit. I was going to go the other route a little, even though I really love Manaea. I was going to say that I think we could take, I think these Boston bats will just be completely unowned in a spot where, again, both teams have a pretty good run total, but there's power in this lineup. You've got value even if you wanted to use guys like Dahlbeck and Renfroe or Chavez. Chavez might be a leadoff hitter today, so you might want it. He'll be the one who's popular of this Boston team. So I definitely like I definitely can. These are to me the different stacks that I would be looking at than the Colorado game.
Okay.
All right. The next game. By the way, let me take one more look at something real quick. I didn't look at the props. I'm really trying to get more dedicated to this and the umpire. So it's a neutral umpire in Boston, and the props for Manaea. Wow, 4.5 strikeout prop. That's pretty low. That seems. I'll take the over on that one. By the way, and I did win my cover bet last night with the Washington and
nice.
But unfortunately they blew a 9-point lead with a few minutes to go. So now they've got me sweating big time. I think this next spot is where we will find a guy who okay, so I'm interested in Tyon and a very tiny bit in Hill. I think Tyon against this lineup is completely a decent matchup. He's got a 6.5K prop. He's probably not going to be that high owned, and he's affordable. So as of right now, I do have Tyon as one of my pitchers.
Tyon is one of my top 2 pitchers on the slate.
Love it.
He's tied with one other guy. Neither guy is probably going to be the huge chalk. So I'm in. I like Tyon. I was waiting to hear if you liked any Rich Hill, because you seem to be the Rich Hill whisperer. I just don't feel as though I need to play anybody against the Yankees. And so Tyon is is definitely one of my top 2 pitchers.
Yeah, you probably don't need to play him. The only thing I'd say about Hill is that it's so weird with him. You don't want to face, like, playing a lefty against the Yankees doesn't feel great, but he's historically, now these numbers did change a little bit over the last year or so, but if he's really back to full regular season Rich Hill, he's always been really devastating to righties. But it's been a little different over the last year, whatever you call it, last season and this, season, it's been a little different. So I do think that, again, I'll just mention Aaron Judge is one of the best one-offs on the slate. I don't think at 4.7 is anywhere near enough for him.
Yep.
And again, if you can afford Stanton, I don't mind that either. I just there's a route for the Yankees to go a little nutty here, and I don't think I'm going to fully stack them, but mostly it would be those 2 guys for me.
Okay, you want to move on?
Yeah, is there anybody on? I mean, I do think, like, as much, I do like Tyon, but I think Meadows and Lau are in play. I probably will end up with a little bit of Meadows.
Meadows is the only guy on my sheet that rates as a one-off from Tampa here. You mentioned Aaron Judge, and that would be literally the only one-off I would like on the Yankee side. So I think you hit on both of them.
And I remember Tyon, I didn't think he used to be great at holding people on, which maybe gives a little bump to Lau and Meadows for stolen bases. All right. Houston and Texas. Boy, Christian Javier is going to be really popular.
Yeah, you can have it. I mean,
so can you. I get it. I love this guy's stuff. He's the kind of guy I don't ever want to, like, really play hitters against, just because he will walk some people. I guess he'll run into some home runs, but the strikeout rate is terrific. It's long. It's every time. It's long at bats. It's grinding out. It's 5 to 6 innings usually. Only time he's gone more than 5 innings in a game was against Seattle. He still has had some huge numbers in those, but I would like to try and find a different route if I can than playing the chalky Christian Javier.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I was wondering if you were going to make a case for Fultonavich just for cheap, only because if you want to pay up for bats, I mean, it's always good to try to find cheap guys. But I think my 2 pitchers are going to be cheap enough. So Javier, I'm not going to play. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, Houston seems to be the logical non-Coors team, right? So you have super hot Kyle Tucker, Alvarez, Brantley, usual suspects, really. And they're certainly, they're certainly going to be, I would say, the chalk non-Cincy. I'll say that, and makes sense. But I would start with the 2 I mentioned, with Tucker and Alvarez.
Yeah, it is interesting that they're going to have such decent ownership, and I get, like, the thing with Fulte is his numbers will lead you to want to, like, the strikeouts. They've gone away for him a little bit, so I'm kind of not very interested. But I just want to point out, like, there aren't that many pitchers we've gone through that. Okay, so his first start, he only went 4 innings, whatever. They were just literally babying everybody along at the beginning. And then he went 7, 5, 6, 5.1, 6, 6.2. He's been pitching deep into games. He doesn't walk. He had some walk things early in the first couple games, but hasn't lately been walking many guys. He will give up some home runs, though. Like, that is something that will probably happen, but usually they're solo or of the minimal variety, so you're not as worried about it. I mean, he hasn't really exploded. this Houston lineup is tough. I like Kyle Tucker. I don't know how to if I'm going to play something to get different, I'd like it to be more different than this. So that leads me more to Oakland, Boston, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, Kyle Tucker's got 3 home runs in his last 4 games, like a zillion fantasy points, and he's only 3,500 against a righty.
I have him as a circled player. Yeah, he's
so it's a tough fade. But with that said, I mean, go play Bruce Moreland. Go play Mitch Moreland, 3,100 or something.
Yeah,
the only actually same price, 3,400.
Yeah, the one thing that's weird to me about Tucker is like he hasn't run as much this year, and I like it when he's running because that's. I mean,
because he's trotting around the bases after hitting home runs.
I mean. Fair enough. Hey, so is Acuna. He still runs. He somehow he hit a home run and a stolen base in the same at bat the other day. No, I'm just kidding. All right. But yeah, I think that, so obviously, look, if I'm going to project who's going to score the most runs on the slate, I would go Cincinnati, then Houston, if I had to guess. But I really think that I like the Oakland, Boston. I'm starting to come around to that game a little bit more and more. I just really, I really think that's the other spot.
I really hope that as we get closer to 8, to lock, that some people start making somehow a case to play Luis Castillo or something like that. Just to be contrarian, because he's gonna get murdered too. I mean, I've been playing him. He just basically, like, he throws his change up and everybody's on it, and he'll pitch okay every once in a while, but Colorado, they're gonna smoke him in this game. So I like both sides of this. Senzel, I mean, you have Trader Joe at first base hitting for 2K for Colorado if he gets in.
Trader Joe, I like it.
Yeah, so you gotta. I mean, all these guys certainly make sense, and everybody's gonna play them. I'll let you say what you're gonna say. Is this one of those that you're gonna do what you usually do in spots like this, and just kind of one off or something like that for a couple of spots in this game?
Well, I feel like you can get a combo stack. Maybe you do a 4-4 with Cincinnati and Oakland, or 4-2-2 with Cincinnati, Oakland, Boston guys or something.
Okay.
I'd be open to doing something like that. I think the guys you want to prioritize are going to be Senzel and Moustakas. Now, those are going to be probably 2 of the most popular, but they're all going to be really popular anyway.
Yep.
But those are the ones that stand out to me as being cheap. And in Moustakas' case, is the kind of guy, a fly ball hitter. Like, I'm always going to want him in Coors Field. I'm just taking a quick look at the weather in Coors and just making sure that there's nothing funny going on. It is like, this total is high, and I partially get it. I think it might be like, it just feels like a crazy number because we haven't had this total yet.
What is it, like 12?
11.5.
Yeah.
So I think that Suarez would be next for me, followed by Castellanos and then Winker. I do like Naquin too. I mean, these are all great plays. Naquin may be a better play because he might be one of the lower owned guys you can get. And he has certainly it's weird though. I always feel like with guys, he has an immense amount of power. Do you need Colorado for that? Sometimes you feel like,
right.
But I do like Naquin a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to ignore Cincinnati, and I don't feel like it's as hard for me to ignore Colorado personally. Blackman.
No, wait, you don't think it's hard?
I don't think it's hard to fade Colorado.
You don't want it. So you could fade Colorado is what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm probably gonna do the stupid thing we just talked about, and I won't do it in a big buy-in lineup with Castillo, but I'm not gonna buy into short-term results on a guy who I believe is going to be a star in this league and has been already kind of. I don't think that he's done. I just think that he's missing location on certain pitches, which is why he's throwing his changeup so much, and he's having trouble controlling his fastball, which is strange. But I just don't believe enough in the Colorado lineup in general. Tapia, Blackman, Story would be my 3 favorites, with McMahon next, and then you do have the really cheap guys if you want them, Joe and all that stuff.
Okay, Miami, Arizona. You going for this guy? You going for either of these guys?
So Trevor Rogers, I think, makes a lot of sense. And I'm interested in that's the other team that I was a little bit interested in is Miami. Good hitting environment, Merrill Kelly on the mound. They're going to be unowned, and they actually, I mean, for Miami, a 4.5 run total is like it's like a freaking 7 run total for the Yankees or something. I'm interested a little bit in Miami. Rogers in Miami.
Meanwhile, Miami is my 5th favorite stack, actually. And you asked a rhetorical question last night. If I'm not mistaken, Sandy Leon hit a home run, no?
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh, that really pisses me off because I did everything I could to avoid playing him.
I think he did. If I'm not mistaken.
It's pretty, maybe if I ever ask a question like that, or if you ever say point out a guy who hasn't gotten a hit in a million years and we are talking about him, maybe we should just automatically play him.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Home run.
Yeah.
We talked about the washed lefties. Now we got Leon and Andrews like going crazy.
Yep. Dickerson and Duvall are my favorite parts of this lineup. It sucks because as much as I talk about it seems like a fun stack and all this stuff, I don't, just like always with outside of a couple of bats and even Aguiar, who I love in general. Maybe he's the other one, I guess. I don't love taking up the first base spot. That's the problem with Miami. I just don't love these hitters.
Right.
But I love the spot. I love that it's going to be warm. I'm guessing the roof's going to be open again. Usually if it's under 100, it's open. And I think that you could see a big, this is another secondary stack. Probably my favorite other than the Oakland-Boston game. And only because I'm ignoring a good Houston spot, basically, with the exception of the one-off here and there, because I just don't want to play chalk outside of Coors on this slate.
Yeah, so I think Rogers, and for me, Rogers and Kelly are kind of my, 3rd tier pitcher. I would probably play Javier before Rogers, and I'm probably not playing Javier. And I just wouldn't play Kelly before Talion. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yep. I completely hear you there. Do you want to jump over to the last one?
Yeah. So this last one is where we finish off my top pitchers. Is Plesac is my second guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Plesac and Talion would be my 2 guys. And my first look didn't really get to any of the hitting from either of these sides. I guess we should think about Cleveland if this Lewis Gilbert or whoever is got to look into him. But I didn't get to Cleveland at first look.
I think that Gilbert is a great play.
Oh wow! Okay, I don't even know what this is.
This kid is going to be. I think he's going to be a star.
Oh, look at this guy. He's like 12.
I know. That's what.
Yeah, look at that.
Bring him up to 12. He's got to be good. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So Gilbert's got great stuff. He's one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball, and
you just don't need him today, though.
Do you need him today, though? I don't know. This is one of those outings in this kind of a matchup where I could see him going out there even for 5 innings. I mean, he might have like 8 or 9 strikeouts. He might give up a home run and walk 4 guys or something like that. But he literally can. I have a feeling the first time seeing this kid, people are going to have trouble. It's just a matter of how he commands himself. At 4K, I don't think I'm very interested. I really am.
But what I mean though is do you need to save the salary? Is what I'm saying.
Well, look at the price. If you play Boston, for example, with and
we wouldn't really be playing Devers at
but I would be playing Devers.
Oh, you would?
See, I like Devers lefty, first of all. And Maya tends to give up more power to lefties too, and he'll be 2% owned. He'll be like the lowest owned of them. But my favorite would be obviously JD Martinez.
Right.
But you can play that. So if you can play those expensive guys at no ownership or Bogarts at no ownership with the Cincinnati stack, like you're going to have a chance to win tournament. Okay. And I think Gilbert, by the way, is going to end up being very popular by the end of the day because
really? Okay.
Who this kid is. So if you hear things later today, you'll notice that you'll hear his name. My cousins have been telling me about him for, I don't know.
Oh, that's right. Your cousins know all that stuff, right?
They're the scout. They're my little scouting team. They're pretty good too. Let's see. So I think that, it's pretty straightforward for me. And what I like about this slate is you can really get different without, I think, giving up a ton of equity. Like, we got to remember Colorado plays in Colorado. So I don't think that they're getting, this is not like obviously a huge boost. This is a normal game for them and they haven't hit the ball. They're still one of the worst hitting teams in baseball. And Cincinnati is a good hitting team who plays also in a great hitting park. So even though it's an upgrade, it's not the same upgrade for them that it is for the Giants. You know what I mean? So that's your argument for maybe trying not to go fully with that. But having said that, I do think 3 players from Cincinnati will be on most of my lineups. And I'm trying to find a reason to not want to pick on Chichi Gonzalez, and I don't have a great one for anybody. My best thing is that he's gone almost 5 innings in 3 games, and he didn't give up home runs in 4 of his starts. That's it. But he gives up tons of hits. He doesn't walk as many guys. Like, he walks guys, but not like, you're not going to see him walk 4 in an inning or something like that, especially to this team probably. I'm just trying to think out loud, because I do think that when you have this concentrated at chalk, you want to try and do something different. But maybe if you just play with these other stacks, you're fine with it.
Well, I mean, not to give it away, but I mean, but you kind of just laid out the blueprint over the last couple of minutes, where, I mean, you could play Cincinnati as 4-4s or whatever with any of those other kind of secondary stacks we talked about, without even having to play. By the way, that cheap pitcher,
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice handy little slate that you could play good plays and not necessarily have to play like the uber chalk. I think you fade Javier and you fade. I think Roger's going to end up being popular.
Yeah.
I think if you fade those 2, I mean, you're already doing something. And yeah, I'm kind of into it.
All right, makes sense to me. You want to do a quick NBA one, and we'll.
Yeah, sure. Fire it off to me.
All right, guys. Good luck to everyone out there. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards tonight.